Many people click this video because the title and thumbnail promise forgotten household hacks that once helped poor families survive. These simple ideas kept homes running when money was almost non-existent, and they worked far better than most people today would expect. Stay with me, because every hack in this list reveals practical wisdom from a time when creativity mattered more than cash. Let us begin. Saving bacon grease for everything. Number 1 is the powerful household hack that shaped countless poor American homes: the careful saving of bacon grease. When a family had very little money, this small jar of leftover fat became one of the most valuable items in the entire kitchen. It stood on the back of the stove like a quiet helper, ready to solve problems that modern households usually fix with expensive products. Anyone who grew up in those years remembers the warm smell of bacon drifting through the house and the familiar sound of grease being poured into a waiting jar. Families never allowed a single drop to go to waste. Once the skillet cooled slightly, the grease was strained through a worn piece of cloth or an old metal sieve. The clean liquid fat slid into a reused glass jar, where it slowly solidified into a creamy, pale block. That jar became a multipurpose tool with dozens of uses, each one important for survival. It replaced costly cooking oil, which many families could not afford on a regular basis. It gave vegetables a deeper flavor, revived leftover rice, enriched beans, and transformed simple cornbread into a filling meal. The grease also served as a natural conditioner for cast iron pans, protecting them from rust and creating a smooth cooking surface long before modern sprays existed. Some families even used a thin layer of the grease to polish wooden handles, loosen stubborn hinges, or coat outdoor tools to prevent moisture from ruining them. This single hack mattered because it stretched food supplies without spending an extra cent. It delivered warmth, richness, and comfort during weeks when money vanished and hope felt thin. Saving bacon grease was more than a habit. It was a symbol of resilience, creativity, and the deep knowledge that nothing in a hardworking home should ever be wasted. Melting small soap pieces into one bar. Number 2 is a clever household hack that demonstrates the ingenuity of families who lived with very little: melting leftover soap pieces into a single bar. When money was scarce, a tiny sliver of soap was far too valuable to discard. Every fragment counted, and families learned to combine them to create a new, fully usable bar. This simple technique saved both money and effort, ensuring that hygiene remained a priority even in hard times. The process was straightforward but effective. Soap remnants were collected over time and placed into a small pot with a little water. Heat softened the pieces, allowing them to meld into a smooth, uniform mass. Once cooled, the mixture solidified into a single bar, ready to serve its purpose in washing dishes, laundry, or even personal cleaning. What modern households often overlook is that this was not only practical but also remarkably efficient. One bar of recycled soap could last weeks, stretching resources far beyond what a single piece could provide. This hack also reflects a broader principle that guided poor families. Nothing was ever wasted. The same bar of soap might have served multiple generations or traveled from the kitchen to the bathroom, always offering value wherever it was needed. Parents taught children to respect these small items, showing that care and attention could transform fragments into something useful. In addition, the act of melting soap encouraged resourcefulness and a mindset that saw opportunity in every leftover. By revisiting this method today, we see more than just a cleaning tip. We see resilience, ingenuity, and the practical wisdom of households that thrived without abundance. Melting small soap pieces into one bar was a minor task with major impact, proving that even the smallest item could serve a family in multiple, meaningful ways. Reusing glass jars for everything. Number 3 is a household hack that highlights the resourcefulness of families who lived with very little: reusing glass jars. These jars, once holding pickles, jams, or sauces, became invaluable in kitchens across America. In households where money was tight, throwing away a jar was unthinkable. Each jar was washed carefully, dried, and stored for the next purpose. The possibilities were endless, and families relied on them for both organization and survival. Glass jars served multiple functions. They held dry goods such as rice, beans, and flour, keeping ingredients fresh and preventing waste. They became containers for homemade preserves, storing fruits and vegetables through harsh winters. Some jars were repurposed as drinking glasses, candle holders, or small plant pots, proving that a single object could fulfill dozens of roles. This hack was not merely about saving money, it was about maximizing value and finding practicality in ordinary items. The importance of this hack went beyond the kitchen. Parents used jars to teach children the value of careful handling, patience, and foresight. Families knew that even a minor crack or chip could shorten the life of a jar, so each one was treated with care. A well-maintained jar could last years, carrying memories and utility across time. In addition, glass jars encouraged creativity. When a new need arose, the family often found a way to adapt an existing jar rather than purchase something new. This habit not only saved money but also instilled a sense of cleverness and independence that shaped everyday life. Reusing glass jars was a simple, effective solution that exemplified the broader mindset of households during difficult times. It demonstrated that careful preservation, thoughtful reuse, and ingenuity could transform ordinary objects into indispensable tools for survival. Flour sack towels and clothing. Number 4 is a remarkable household hack that showcases the ingenuity of families who survived on very little: the versatile use of flour sacks. During hard times, families could not afford abundant cloth or disposable towels. Empty flour sacks, once washed and cleaned, became essential items in kitchens and homes, serving multiple purposes without costing a single penny. They were strong, absorbent, and surprisingly durable, making them indispensable to daily life. Flour sacks were first used as kitchen towels. They absorbed spills, wiped counters, and dried dishes with ease. Their soft but sturdy texture made them suitable for cleaning delicate surfaces without damage. Families also repurposed them into handkerchiefs, dish rags, or even as lining for shelves to keep food and utensils clean. In addition, when a household needed clothing, skilled hands could transform these sacks into aprons, dresses, or shirts. Mothers and grandmothers stitched and hemmed them carefully, turning humble sacks into practical garments for children and adults alike. The hack mattered because it combined utility with economy. One flour sack could serve multiple roles over weeks or even months, reducing waste and stretching the household budget. This practice also taught children resourcefulness and respect for materials. They learned that a single item could solve many problems if used wisely, a lesson often lost in modern convenience-driven lifestyles. Flour sacks even carried a sense of pride. Families decorated or embroidered them to add beauty to functional objects, demonstrating that necessity could inspire creativity. In a world where money was scarce, these sacks transformed daily chores and clothing needs into opportunities for skill, innovation, and careful planning. The use of flour sacks reminds us that even the simplest, overlooked objects can become vital tools in the hands of those who truly understand the value of every item in their home. Reusing old newspapers. Number 5 is a classic household hack that demonstrates the resourcefulness of families who lived with very little: reusing old newspapers. During hard times, newspapers were not merely sources of information, they became multipurpose tools around the home. Families found ways to turn these thin sheets of paper into practical solutions for cleaning, protecting, and preserving, stretching their value far beyond their original purpose. Old newspapers were first used as cleaning aids. They polished windows and mirrors, leaving glass streak-free without any chemical products. Their absorbent texture also made them ideal for soaking up spills, lining shelves, or even wrapping perishable food items. Families quickly realized that a few sheets of newspaper could replace more expensive household supplies while delivering reliable results. The printing ink of the time did not smudge as heavily as modern varieties, which made this hack surprisingly effective. In addition, newspapers were repurposed in kitchens and storage areas. They were layered under vegetables to keep them fresh, used to wrap baked goods, or placed inside shoes and boots to absorb moisture. Children learned to craft simple toys, paper chains, and even seedling pots from old sheets, turning what others considered waste into objects of utility or entertainment. This hack mattered because it taught families to maximize every resource in their home. A newspaper was no longer just news, it was cleaning material, food protection, and a learning tool. It reflected a mindset of creativity and careful planning, where nothing was discarded until every possible use was exhausted. Reusing newspapers was a minor practice with major impact. It offered practicality, economy, and ingenuity, proving that even everyday objects could serve multiple functions in the hands of families who understood how to make the most of very little. Reusing broken dishes as planters and tools. Number 6 is a practical household hack that reflects the ingenuity of families who lived with very little. Reusing broken dishes. During hard times, a chipped plate or cracked bowl was not discarded immediately. Instead, families found creative ways to give new life to damaged items, transforming them into useful objects around the home and garden. This simple habit demonstrated resourcefulness and care for every possession. Broken dishes were commonly used as planters. A small crack or missing piece did not prevent them from holding soil and seedlings. Families would fill a broken bowl with dirt, plant herbs, flowers, or vegetables, and place it on a windowsill or in the garden. This approach provided fresh ingredients or decorative plants without any additional cost. It also encouraged a connection to nature and self-sufficiency, even in households with minimal resources. In addition to gardening, broken dishes served practical purposes indoors. Pieces could be repurposed as scoops for flour, sugar, or grains, or as small containers for nails, buttons, and other tiny household items. Children often used shards under supervision to create simple crafts, mosaics, or art projects, turning what appeared to be waste into a tool for learning and creativity. This hack mattered because it reduced waste and maximized the usefulness of every household item. Families learned to see potential in what others discarded, cultivating ingenuity, patience, and respect for possessions. A broken dish was never just a broken dish. It became a small, valuable tool that solved everyday problems. Reusing broken dishes exemplifies the broader mindset of households during difficult times: careful, resourceful, and inventive. Even a damaged object could serve multiple functions, proving that necessity inspires creativity and that survival often depended on seeing value where others saw none. Saving string and twine for later use. Number 7 is a household hack that illustrates the careful resourcefulness of families who lived with very little: saving string and twine. During difficult times, even a small piece of string was considered valuable. Families quickly learned that these simple materials could solve numerous problems, and discarding them was never an option. A spool of twine or a loose piece of string was carefully collected, wound neatly, and stored for future use, often in a dedicated container. String served many practical functions in the household. It tied together packages, secured boxes of vegetables, or fastened lids on jars to keep food fresh. In the kitchen, it helped truss poultry or bundle herbs for flavoring. In the garden, string supported young plants, held climbing vines, or marked rows for planting. Its applications extended beyond the home as well. Families used string to repair fences, hang laundry, or craft simple toys and decorations for children. Saving string also encouraged discipline and foresight. Children were taught to wind leftover pieces, keep them untangled, and return them to their designated place. This habit reinforced the value of planning and the importance of small materials in everyday survival. By maintaining a supply of string, households avoided unnecessary trips to stores, conserved money, and minimized waste. This hack mattered because it transformed a seemingly trivial item into a versatile and indispensable tool. It exemplifies the ingenuity and practicality that defined families living in scarcity. The habit of saving string shows that even the smallest resources can have significant impact when used wisely. Preserving twine and string was not just about saving money, it was a lesson in resourcefulness, patience, and creativity. It ensured that households could handle challenges efficiently, proving that careful management of even minor items often made a major difference in daily life. Reusing metal cans for storage and tools. Number 8 is a household hack that demonstrates the creativity of families who lived with very little: reusing metal cans. Empty cans, once holding vegetables, soups, or beans, were never discarded. Instead, families found dozens of practical uses for them around the home, turning what others considered trash into indispensable tools. This simple habit saved money, reduced waste, and strengthened resourcefulness in daily life. Metal cans were commonly repurposed for storage. They held nails, screws, buttons, or other small household items that could easily get lost. In the kitchen, they served as holders for utensils, spoons, or knives. Larger cans were even used to store grains, flour, or dried beans, keeping them organized and accessible. Families also used cans for creative solutions, such as planters for herbs or vegetables, scoops for flour and sugar, or improvised funnels for liquids. This hack encouraged careful handling and innovation. Children were taught to clean the cans, remove sharp edges, and reuse them safely. Families often painted or labeled cans to keep their contents organized, turning simple metal containers into functional and sometimes decorative objects. Even the lids were repurposed for craft projects, makeshift coasters, or protective covers. The importance of this hack went beyond practicality. Reusing cans taught patience, foresight, and the value of maintaining resources in a household where money was scarce. A single can could serve multiple roles over time, and families learned to see potential where others saw waste. Reusing metal cans is a clear example of how necessity fostered creativity. It allowed households to solve everyday problems efficiently and economically. This hack proves that even simple, overlooked objects can have immense value in the hands of resourceful families, ensuring survival and comfort during challenging times. Reusing leftover fabric scraps. Number 9 is a household hack that highlights the ingenuity of families who lived with very little: reusing leftover fabric scraps. In households where money was scarce, no piece of cloth was ever wasted. Small remnants from sewing projects were collected and stored carefully, waiting for the right opportunity to serve a new purpose. These scraps, though tiny, became essential tools for managing daily chores and extending the life of household items. Fabric scraps were used in many practical ways. They became patches for worn-out clothing, reinforcing areas that had frayed or torn. Mothers and grandmothers sewed multiple scraps together to create quilts, which provided warmth and comfort during harsh winters. Small pieces served as cleaning rags for dusting, polishing, or washing dishes, while larger pieces were transformed into aprons, bags, or protective covers for furniture. Even children used scraps for crafts, learning to create toys, dolls, and simple decorations, turning leftover material into imaginative projects. This hack mattered because it maximized value while reducing waste. Families learned to view each piece of fabric as a resource, not as trash. Children were taught patience, careful handling, and creative thinking. They observed how small actions, like saving scraps, could produce lasting benefits for the household. Over time, fabric remnants accumulated into a versatile supply that could meet a wide range of needs, from clothing repairs to practical tools and creative endeavors. Reusing fabric scraps exemplifies the resourcefulness that defined families during hard times. It encouraged innovation, careful planning, and respect for possessions. What might seem insignificant today was a cornerstone of survival yesterday. Each scrap contributed to comfort, functionality, and beauty, proving that even the smallest materials could play a vital role in daily life. Repurposing broken furniture parts. Number 10 is a household hack that reflects the ingenuity of families who lived with very little: repurposing broken furniture parts. During hard times, a cracked chair leg, a damaged drawer, or a worn tabletop was not thrown away. Instead, families saw potential in every piece, transforming it into something useful. This mindset turned discarded items into practical solutions for everyday needs, saving money and reducing waste. Broken furniture parts were used in multiple ways. Old chair legs became stakes for garden plants or supports for shelves. Damaged tabletops were cut down and used as cutting boards, small tables, or work surfaces. Drawers, once removed from cabinets, served as storage containers, planters, or even makeshift crates for carrying tools and supplies. The goal was simple: to extend the usefulness of every item and make sure nothing went to waste. This hack encouraged careful observation and creativity. Children learned to examine objects and identify ways to repurpose them, developing skills that proved valuable throughout life. Families also practiced patience and resourcefulness, repairing or modifying pieces rather than buying replacements. Over time, households accumulated a collection of repurposed parts that could solve a variety of challenges, from minor repairs to gardening needs. The importance of this hack went beyond practicality. It reinforced the principle that even broken or damaged items could hold value when approached thoughtfully. Families who mastered this skill cultivated independence, creativity, and efficiency, proving that ingenuity often matters more than abundance. Repurposing broken furniture parts exemplifies the mindset that defined survival during hard times. It shows that careful handling, creativity, and foresight could turn problems into solutions, and that even the smallest or most damaged items could serve multiple functions in a household where every resource counted.